Welcome to the Ignorance is Strength podcast. I'm your host, Fabian motherfucking Ojeda, and I don't know shit, but that's okay. All right. Let's get this shit started. Thank you, everybody, for listening to the Ignorance is Strength podcast. Hope you all enjoyed episode number 70. This shit show number 7. Always fun with those guys. They'll be back again for 80, presumably, if we don't, forget to schedule and do something stupid again. But we're back with the familiar voice, and it's, I don't know, what is it, your 4th time around, 5th time around, something like this? Welcome back.
I think it's my 4th time. Sorry to cut you off.
Welcome back to the podcast, AstroMonica. How you doing?
Good. How are you? Where's my clapping and my applause noise? I need that in the background.
I can definitely chime it in afterwards. So,
all right, sounds good.
Just how's things been since last time you were on the podcast?
So I think the last time that I was on the podcast was probably,
I want to
say, yeah, it was like back in January, because I remember I had just dyed my hair too, because I was a redhead, remember? Mm-hmm. And now I have purple hair, but you can't really tell because it's in the dark until you get into the light.
Yeah.
But things have been good. I've been really busy. I actually started working. Sorry, I was a little under the weather. I had gotten an infection in my throat, so it wasn't the virus. I can tell you that right now. I got a negative on my test. But yeah, I've been good. I mean, there's been a lot of transitions from the time that we spoke to now. I've done a whole complete shift in my life. So, I mean, overall, it's been pretty good. Pretty good.
Would you say that whatever shifts in your life have followed the stars and whatever they said was going to happen to you, or did it do a complete 180 and just like do its own shit?
It went a whole 180, to be honest with you. I don't really want to get too personal in my personal life because I like to keep my shit behind closed doors, and I like my business to be my own business and not everyone know about it. I'm pretty sure you've seen it on my Instagram, my personal, page, or you're aren't you like in love and shit or something like that?
Yeah. That's what I did say. I'm like, you're all in love and shit now, or what's going on?
Or like, what's the big deal? Yeah. It was a whole 180. It was a whole complete, like, it was just like a really random like twist or something that I really didn't expect. I think from the time that I was when we had done the podcast with Roy, I was actually like kind of on my own for a bit. I wasn't really like talking to anyone or any of that stuff. But my sign did say that I was gonna have like a whole shift coming through, which I was like, okay, cool, whatever. But yeah, it was a whole 180. It was something I didn't really think of because I wasn't really looking for anything at that moment. It was just like, all right, cool, whatever, And it's so funny because I was just talking to my friend last night about it. Cause she's like, it's like your story. Like your story is so like, it's so weird how shit just happened from like one day to another. And I was like, yeah. I was like, yeah. I'm like funny about that. I was like, like I met this person in the middle of nowhere in Chinatown. Like it was 8 p.m. And she's like, what the fuck? And I was like, yeah. And like we hung out for a bit. And then he's like, you want to go to the beach? And I was like, yeah, I'm down. So I got his car, and it was like, I didn't know this person very well. And I was just like, fuck it, So my friend's like, you're kind of ballsy about doing shit like that. And I was like, well, yeah. I'm like, I didn't think anything bad about him either.
Yeah, that is kind of ballsy in LA to do. So, I mean.
Yeah, but when like, when you talk to certain people and you kind of understand, like, and you kind of see, like, where they're coming from and how, like, they're being raised and you actually have a conversation before you like meet up, then you kind of understand and you kind of realize like, okay, this person kind of has their 5 senses and they're okay. They're not going to like murder me.
You were able to assess that within meeting somebody in an hour?
Oh, no. So I actually, a funny story. I was talking to this person through social media. It wasn't like I met him there and then. It was just like magically like, hey, like, what are you doing? You like want to chill for a bit? It was kind of that thing, but I thought Chinatown was open at that time, which was like 8 p.m. But apparently Chinatown was not open at that time. Everything was closed. So that's when we kind of just like, well, fuck it, let's go somewhere else. So yeah, that's my whole shift, I guess I took. But
and this is relevant because we've been following your progress since the single panel, right?
Yes, the single panel, yes. But then again, like I said, I don't like to talk about my personal shit because I like to keep myself behind hidden doors.
Well, you threw it out there already, so that's your own fault.
Not everything, though, because I haven't talked about what exactly is going on. But yeah.
Yeah. So, but one thing that I wanted to revisit, and is that you're actually the most listened to episode of the podcast. And I don't know the total numbers at this point because I'm getting different numbers off Spotify and our hosting site, but just based off of YouTube, which is odd because I get no plays on YouTube, right? If you look at the last episode you did with Roy, your video has like close to 20,000 views, and that's the most we have, which is odd because again, I think I'm used to like 10, maybe 5
views, right?
Yeah, some of them have been getting better. I think for some reason I got like 50 something followers. I'm like, hey, that's something, because I don't really focus on YouTube. I just put the audio up. But with I think it might have a lot to do with the title that we put. It was the sex files who got laid.
Yeah. That
that one I think really did it. And maybe people that were searching for other stuff stumbled upon your episode and listened to it because I don't know how to explain it. The other one that's kind of comparable is the Pornhub episode, but that one only has like less than 4,000 plays. So it's interesting to see the dynamic there. So you are more listened to than the Pornhub episode. How do you feel about that?
I'm really impressed when you told me this and like you hit me up and you're like, hey, look at your episode. Like you have about, this amount of views. And I'm like, what? Like, how is that even possible?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just an audio. Like it's not even a video at some point, So, I mean, it's really interesting, but I mean, it's cool. I mean, I'm glad that I made some history in your podcast,
Just a little more and we'll be viral.
There you go, dude. There you go. We got, you know what? We should start doing a podcast of the sex files and talk about like different, how Dr. Drew would talk about certain shit. Yeah, we should just totally do that. I'm so down with that.
And that kind of brings me to my next point because you've expressed interest in getting a spinoff show from this podcast, right?
Yes. I did hit you up saying that I kind of wanted to start off my own podcast. Because I feel like there's a lot of topics that women don't really like to talk about, or just in general people don't like to talk about. And I feel that sometimes I like to be honest about things, and I like to make people get uncomfortable at some point, because it's like you kind of have to come out of that comfort zone, like not everything is lovey-dovey, not everything is like severe, like like nothing is perfect. So people think everything, like there's some people out there that think, oh well, my relationship is so perfect, or like my like the way I handle myself is so perfect, but it's not that. It's like I like to talk about a lot of topics because sometimes we don't touch those topics. We think that by avoiding them we're going to be okay and not have to deal with them, but sometimes we have to face our fears or face certain conversations that we have. Like I know in the Hispanic culture, we as first generation, I don't know if you're first generation.
Yeah, I was the first generation born here. Yeah.
Okay, so I know for males it's a little bit more different, but for females, having those boundaries with their parents is really, really hard. A lot of our parents think that because we're a female, we're not allowed to do this, or like they need to come in and invade certain privacy of this. Like I know a lot of families that have come from a long way that they live in a small 1-2 bedroom apartment, and it's like 4 or 5 of them in a 2-bedroom apartment. So you don't get your own personal space, you don't get your own privacy. So right. A lot of parents think that setting those boundaries, it's like it's not, you don't need that because your family needs to know everything. Like, not everybody needs to know your own business. Like, I don't tell my family a lot of stuff because that's my personal business. If I want to tell them, I know they're going to be like, well, why are you doing that? You know, it's like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to be criticized. So that's something that I wanted to touch base on my own, podcast, how to, put those boundaries with our parents. Like, sometimes it looks like we can be the really fucked up ones to be like, oh, because I've heard it before where I put my boundaries with my parents and they're like, well, you're doing something wrong for yourself. And it's like, no, I'm doing something right for myself because I'm creating something that I need to create. Like, I need my own personal space. Like, don't come in and invade my space, because what if I were to invade your space? Would you guys like that? And they're like, no, okay, then it just goes both ways, So yeah, I actually wanted to start off my own podcast, but I don't know if I could do it, to be honest with you.
What is it, the timing, or because if you can have a 40-minute conversation with someone over Zoom, let's say you send me that file, I'll put some music on it. That's it. That's an episode. You know
what it is. I think it's more of like I was telling my homegirl the other day. Es que estado de culo caliente. I'm just fucking with it. I'm just fucking with it. Now, it's the time, to be honest. From being a single parent to like kind of like I'm working now. I'm actually working an 8-hour shift now. So my hours are usually from like 8:30 to 5:30. So it's like I get home, I kind of have to spend time with my kid, and then by the time my kid goes to sleep, it's like I gotta be up because early tomorrow next morning to make my lunch and to like pack myself, so when I head to work I'm good to go. I just think it's a time, to be honest with you. It's just a time, like, and then to find the people, because I know I could probably get people, but it's like to accommodate to their schedule as well, because their schedule might be a little different than mine. So I mean, it all varies out, to be honest with you. Like, it really does. I don't know. I just think it's a time for me on my end.
I think in your case, I would maybe recommend, finding like a co-host, right?
Yeah.
And just kind of recording like maybe 3 or 4 in the can at a time, right? And then going a month without doing it, and then recording another, 3 or 4 at a time. That way you have content that you can pump out, and you're never rushing, Like the way I started off, I recorded like 5 in a row. And I wanted to make sure that I had something to put up every week, because now that I'm doing it kind of week to week, and sometimes I, be like, I'll get like what happened this past week, where I'm like, oh, I've got 3 or 4 guests lined up. I don't care if one drops, right? And then they all drop,
Yeah.
But had I had my backup episodes already recorded, I had one recorded. Had I had my backup episodes recorded like I used to, I wouldn't have been in that predicament. But I mean, it is what it is. It's whatever time you decide to dedicate it to it. To me, it's a hobby. It's like I'm consistent with it, but I'm not looking to be like, the next great host of
Joe Rogan over here.
Yeah, well, I would
like
say Joe Rogan, it's not even that good.
Some other people that I'm not gonna call out on their shit. I'm not giving You know who I'm talking about, right, Vivian?
Well, you know what? I'm just gonna look at the shots fired and not say anything. But yeah, no. I mean, if you do decide to do a spinoff, I think maybe some people would listen to it that are already listening to this show. I think I don't know. I think if people have at least checked out your crafts and stuff, right? I think I've had at least 1 or 2 people check out your crafts from the podcast.
Yes,
you actually did business with one of them. Like you did like a pop-up with one of them.
Yes, I did actually. It was a great pop-up. I think it was just more of like advertising. It was a good, don't get me wrong, it was very well. I guess because it was a lot of first timers too. So I mean, it wasn't my first pop-up either. It was probably one of my, I've done pop-ups for a while, since like last year. So I haven't done any recently because of the whole COVID thing. I do have a child, and it's just how hard to be out there when you don't know what people I mean, there's people that aren't even wearing masks. So that's one of my concerns, like, I just want to make sure that I'm taking my precautions. And like,
For sure.
that's the only reason why I've been selling online. I haven't been updating anything because I haven't really, I haven't been doing anything because, like I said, I started working at this place. I went back to education, even though I said I wasn't going to go back anymore. And here I am going back to education field. So it takes a lot of your time, when you're working with kids, it takes a lot of your energy. And it's like, I still have to come home to my daughter, and it's like, my energy's there. It's just, I'm done by the end of the day. Even though a lot of people say, well, what do you do at work? Like, why are you so always tired? And it's like, I work with 3-year-olds. You know how like tiring they get you?
Right. Even if you can't name everything you do, just the fact that you have to keep up with their energy is a task in itself.
I mean, it's like, yeah, I'm not even gonna get into the details because that whole thing is just a hot mess. Like right now, I've been under the weather because I actually got a sinus infection due to the air conditioner at work. They have it at full blast, so it's like, I've been taking some days off, so I kind of been, like focusing on my business right now. So right now, what you see me do, like doing on the Zoom video, is that I'm actually fixing all my fabric because I literally just bought $50 worth of fabric again. So it's like I'm adding more inventory to my stuff. So it's like, it's a lot to do, just, and it's just me doing everything, like sewing, cutting, and it takes a lot of my time, and I don't sell my stuff very expensive either. So I guess that's another reason why I don't really upload so many things, because it's like, once I start selling, it goes out and it's like, okay, I have to make more again. And it just takes me time,
Yeah.
But yeah. That's
so what do you think's going back to the podcast real quick, what do you think's the over under, the 50-50 that you start one, or like more like, I lost my interest?
No. Trust me. I'm like, look, I'll be honest with you. I'm 100%, and like, I am 100%. Nice. It's just finding the time. Like, I'll be honest. Like, this is gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest to myself, because I don't want to be lying to myself either and say like, oh yeah, I'm gonna like start it. Like, I think I need to sit down and actually like start my own calendar and figure out like when I'm gonna start doing it. So then it gives me time to kind of accommodate to my things, But I think like I said, I'm 100% for my podcast. Like, I even spoke to somebody about it because one of my homegirls, she has her own business too. I haven't seen her because she keeps saying like, oh, you're over there now playing, with somebody else. It's like, you forgot about me, and it's like, no, I didn't forget about you. I even brought it up to her. I said, hey, let's do a podcast together. Like, you have your own business, and like, you have, you could talk about we can both talk about many different, topics, because, you and I have something similar to like what we had gone through, but your story is a little bit different than my story, And she's like, yeah, it sounds great. Like, but it's just finding the time. Like, realistically, it's finding the time. That's what it is,
Well, hopefully, get that started, because I'm actually, I'm always interested in a different take on things. I obviously have the way I do things, and the way I, interview, my style, and different people have different ways of doing their podcasts. I've interviewed a lot of podcasters, and I was telling another guest how some of them are just not that good. They put a lot of effort into it, a lot of production value into it, even, but their content is just not that good. It's not interesting. And so,
I mean, you know what? And then I'll be honest with you. There have been some podcasts that I have listened to that aren't that great. And I'm kind of like, well, I'm not really interested in that kind of stuff. Like I said, as being a first generation, child, coming from a Mexican household, it's like, yeah, there's some topics that people do talk about. Like your podcast, there's something that I like about your podcast, is because you don't just stick to one thing. You stick to many other things. You stick to like, not just men, but you stick to, like women, and you talk about like different topics, and like, you're all over the field, like kind of just like to discover what's out there, and not just like there's one little thing and there's like several other topics, like the whole single panel, like that whole thing, like you never hear stuff like that on podcasts. You hear about comedy and another bunch of shit, but not like a panel like, well, what do you think?
Yeah, I just like to keep different topics. I would hate to talk about, I don't know, like even something I like pro wrestling, right? I would hate to talk to a pro wrestler every week. I talk to, I'm like just one, So like, I do, I do have a lot of like up and coming entertainment people, but those are kind of like, I'm helping out a guy that does, he's a publicist and he's trying to get a lot of people out there, and it helps me because I get a lot of content out, but a lot of the time these people are interesting, or they turn out to be whack jobs, or they turn out to be, kind of boring, and it's just it's hit or miss. I try to drag out as much as I can from each person, but not all of the episodes are going to be hits. I think I've had a few that are stinkers, and I'm like, ugh. But I try to make up for it by giving my all on future episodes after that.
Yeah. No, I get it. Like you also make your own like your agenda of like what you go over it back with the people, like, hey, like this is what the topics that we have, this is what we're going to talk about, and it's like it's a freestyle too. Like it's not just a whole like I'm gonna question you this and like you gotta give me your answer and like that's it, like and none of that stuff. And I mean it's great, I love it. That's why I always tell you like, hey, when can I come on a podcast? Because I can talk for hours and I can be honest about that. I love to talk. I love to talk. I'm surprised my family hasn't given me up yet, because they say I'm always talking about something, or I'm always just angry and talking shit about something. That's all they always tell me.
Well, that's a podcast in and of itself right there. Would you include any like you are AstroMonica? Would you include any astrology talk in there, or would you kind of keep that separate?
I would talk about astrology. You know why? Because I feel like yes and no. It all depends, because I like to talk about certain stuff in astrology. I just don't like to I think a lot of people now are seeing that astrology is being a big old thing. I don't know if you noticed that. Because there's a lot more podcasts on astrology, and I guess people are starting to understand and realize that what is really the meaning of astrology. A lot of people think that astrology is just like the planet, because I know, because I have someone that told me you and your little rocks and your little planets, but it's like nah, fool, like these planets actually make us have a certain like moods and stuff, but it's just like I would incorporate that because that's something that I like and I would like to incorporate, because I know people are interested in it too, but yeah, I would definitely incorporate something like that. But
I happened to look up my horoscope before talking to you, and it was weird. It said that today was a good day to cry. I'm like, what the hell?
Did you cry?
I did not.
It's
I
fine.
would be honest if I did, but it was such
we'll have this conversation off the line to make sure that you can be honest with me.
I really didn't. I'm like, if anything, I might have been bored. Maybe that made me cry. No, but...
You know who will be crying right now, though, to be honest with you, because they weren't invited to the podcast? Roy.
Oof. Oh man. I know.
Yeah. I know.
We should have had him on. It was such a good dynamic last time.
It's a little cancer, man. Those cancers, they can get a little emotional about stuff.
I think he enjoyed it. He enjoyed that episode, and a lot of people got a good laugh out of it. I think that was a good team right there. We got to get the team back together on that.
Yeah, dude. Like I said, I'm totally for it. And you know what? I would totally have him on my podcast and like talk about certain shit with him, because like I think him as being a teacher and like how he tries to have his own experience outside his own world, it's just too funny, like. I don't know, that man needs some help, man. That's all I have to say.
No, he was going to bring some people on the podcast for me, but I think they haven't reached back yet. Because I like to, if you've been on before, I'm like, bring somebody else on. Let's co-host it. Yeah. but I'm just waiting on that. But he'll be back on. He'll be back on. I mean, I kind of took a break from having repeat guests for a while just because I had so many, new guests to put on. So I'm like, damn, I got like, 10, 15 new people I'm gonna put on. I'm like, I gotta kind of cancel out the repeats. But all the people that have been on before, like on a regular basis, they'll be back on before. I mean, soon.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I like about the podcast. It's like,
no hard feelings. It's okay. I get it. You just didn't want us to be on this podcast. It's cool.
Maybe not this round. No, we got to take a break from the astrology.
I know that. You know what? And I can totally break away from astrology for a bit too, because it's going back to your horoscope. Like, what else did it say?
That's pretty much it. It wasn't anything too specific. It just said like.
Wait, where were you looking at though? Like
just online. I'm like, right before I jump on with you, let me look online and see what my horoscope says, just in case you bring up astrology.
Okay, well that's a good move, but actually, it's so funny because my mom was telling me about it. She's like, "Have you seen your horoscope?" And I'm like, no, I have not." And she's like, "Why not?" And I'm like, because I've been busy with things that I'm doing at home. Like, what do you expect me to do? Look at my astrology all the time? Like, but I hear it all the time anyways on my Instagram because I get like notifications about this one person. So she's always talking about like Tauruses, and I'm like, we're just great shit talkers at some point, So that's why I just kind of.
You know what I noticed a lot of? Okay, so you mentioned kind of like there's characteristics of certain signs, right? Like Roy being Cancer, right? What was his characteristic as a Cancer?
He's not sensitive, but okay. So Cancers are considered actually, no, that's a lie. It's not considered daddies. Cancers are considered very motherly because that's kind of like the mother sign. He gives his all, but he never gets it back.
Right. Okay.
He always wants to give them back, but then he can be a little controlling and possessive about stuff, and he can be very, very naive about things too. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
But what I noticed the most of, like, I try not to pay attention to that most of the time, but I always hear the Scorpios like, "Oh, that's right, they take so much pride in it. Like, oh, I'm a Scorpio, this and that. Like, I'm this way because I'm a Scorpio, and it's like, no, it's just because you're a jerk. Like,
no, Scorpios are toxic. I can tell you that right now. I'm just kidding. Not us. Scorpios are toxic. So no, well, it depends because some Scorpios are cool. Don't get me wrong. They're very cool. Male Scorpios are kind of cool. Like, they're cool. But there's some male Scorpios that, man, they're just fucking horny all the time. That's all they think about. It's just sex, Like, I'm not gonna say names, you might know this person. He's a Scorpio, and he was expecting a child, and he would hit me up and tell me like, "Hey, I need you, like, I love you," and it's like, what? Like, don't you have a baby on the way? Like, and they are very like, they're not always about sex, to be honest with you. They're just very sexually active person. That's all really realistically they are. But the ones I don't like are Leos, and we're in Leo season right now. So Leos are the very cocky ones. So maybe you got them confused. It's probably the Leos that you have to talk about.
Okay, I distinctly always hear Scorpio women pronounce how they're doing X and Y and Z because they're Scorpios, right? Like, they're always putting that out there. It's like, I don't know, like, if it says like, Scorpio women are fucking smart, 10% smarter than the whole population, they'll throw that out there and celebrate it like it's the gospel, but I always see that with Scorpio women. Like, I don't know why they're super proud of it.
Because they have that toxic mentality about like, I'm great. But you know what? I'll give them this though. They have very, very high self-esteem, and that's really good because they're very confident about themselves. That's definitely something I give them because I met a couple of Scorpios. and actually I work with one too, and she's very confident about herself, like body wise. She's like, you know, I don't care what people think about me, and like I give two cents of a shit, you know, like I'm smart, like I know what I'm doing, you know. And yeah, you're right, some Scorpios are like that, but I give them kudos because they are very, very strong women. Like they don't like to show their feelings about certain stuff, and I can tell you that because my daughter's moon is a Scorpio, and she hates showing her feelings. You know, she's not a Scorpio, she's an Aries, but unfortunately, she's a fucking Gemini rising. So sometimes homegirl don't know what she wants at some point. You know, but going back to the Scorpio woman, yes, they are very, very cocky about themselves. They do have that very high self-esteem, and some guys might find that very unattractive because you know they feel like, oh, okay, like why are you talking about yourself like that? Like ain't nobody talking about you like this right now. Like
but it's not just you. It's not just because of the confidence comes up, it's cockiness, right? And it's like it's very off-putting. It's just like if you know, if you were to be approached by a guy that's very cocky, right? It wouldn't be super arrogant. It wouldn't be like an attractive quality. It'd just be like, you're a fucking jackass, right? I mean, unless you're that fucking vapid shit, you know, but most people aren't.
Yeah, you know, and I get it. Like I said, excuse me, a lot of these girls, they're actually just, like I said, they're very cocky because they have that high confidence in them. They're very, they don't like to show their emotions. So they like to show like, I'm strong, I have no weakness, so don't fuck with me type of thing, you know? And that's why I say, you know, kudos to them because, I mean, me as a Taurus, I'm like, like, leave me alone. Like, don't talk to me. I like to be in my own world, to be honest with you. I'm not cocky. And you know that for a fact that I am not cocky at all. I am not a people pleaser either because I don't please anyone. Like, you want me to please you? Sorry, the door's right there. You can walk out that fucking door because I'm not pleasing you today. The only person that I please is my daughter, and that's whatever she wants, she gets. But you ain't even my kid, you know? Like, but if I love someone, of course I'll please them, and like not like that, but I'm saying like please them as like, you know, you want that? Okay, don't worry, I'll get it for you, you know, type of thing. But yeah, you know, I'm surprised you don't like Scorpios. Oh, I know, I forgot. Libras don't like Scorpios.
I don't know. I never looked into any of that, but like, I don't go around throwing my sign out there like a gang sign, you know?
No, and I know that because my one of my homeboys that I actually he's a really good friend of mine. He's a Libra. Him and I we've been friends since like 2010, so we know each other for over, you know, like 10 years. So we were actually talking about that because he asked me, he goes, hey, you know what, he's like, I guess at this point he was just trying to like meet someone to like, you know, start dating again because he was in a long-term relationship and in the relationship, and then now he was like, you know what, I think I need time for myself. So I kind of help him to like understand what really he wanted, because we would have these conversations, like, because, you know, he would ask me questions about spiritual stuff, and I was just like, well, you know, like, you need to sit down and think about what you really want. But he started dating this Scorpio, and he even told me, he's a Libra, okay? Libra, just like you, you know, very like you can have a full on conversation with him. He tells me, he goes, you know what? I don't like Scorpio women. And I said, why not? He goes, they're very fucking cocky. And it's the same thing that you said. And he goes, dude, she's fucking crazy. And I was like, what do you mean? He goes, remember that time that you called me? And I was like, yeah, because I had a question about an address that you have referred me to somebody that I needed to go, you know, get some product. And he goes, yeah. He's like, I was like, well, yeah, I called you because you weren't answering my text messages. So then he says, dude, she started flipping out, saying, why is it that that, you know, you're calling me? Like, and I was like, well, because I had a question. That's the only thing I had, you know, like, I don't know what the issue is. Like, why is she upset? But yeah, a lot of Scorpio women, they have that tendency. But yeah, going back to my friend's story, he was just telling me, he's like, yeah, like, she's really crazy and blah, blah. And then I kind of got the idea of like, yeah, they could kind of be a little like possessive. Well, not possessive. They just could be a little toxic, I guess. But, you know, I guess you could be toxic when you want to control certain things. But people also have to understand that when you can't control everything, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just I think the one thing I noticed, if I had to kind of group it all together, is that yes, they love to claim like, hey, I'm a Scorpio, I'm a Scorpio, I'm a Scorpio. Like, if you know them, you will know that they're a damn Scorpio. That's all I'm saying. I don't know any of the.
Why you hating though? Don't hate on the Scorpios, man.
Well, no, it's like anything, like if it's like somebody who let's say, they're an actor. If they constantly keep repeating, I'm an actor, I'm an actor, I'm an actor. Like, it's like, okay, we've had enough of this. Relax. We all know you're an actor. Same thing with the Scorpio. It's like, I don't give a shit anymore. Like, we all know, we all know what you're gonna say. It's like, I do X, Y, and Z because of this, because I'm a Scorpio. It's like, no, it's because you suck. But no, I don't hate them for the record, because I'm sure I know plenty of them. I don't know. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. But that's what I wanted to throw out there and see maybe there's any logic to that. But aside from astrology and all that, I had an interesting episode a while back, and it was kind of slow, to be honest with you. At first, It was somebody who was like a life coach, right?
Okay.
I think it's episode 64. I think you may have gotten
heard it. Yeah,
you may have gotten a kick out of it because it was kind of like some weird shit towards the end there, like about aliens and
Lord.
Yeah, like, and it tied into like, you know how astrology ties into like the sun and the gods and all that stuff too.
Yeah,
the same shit with this lady. I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? At some point, I just let her spew, like, go for it, like, you know what I mean?
What did she talk about though? What was she saying exactly?
Just how, like how everybody's confused and is living kind of a lie and blah blah blah, and how the back in like the Roman days, even like aliens were kind of running rampant, and I don't know, to be honest with you. I got kind of lost in there, but I was like, dang, somebody might find this interesting, and so I'm like, I'm like, that might seem something that would have been maybe right up your alley.
So let me tell you something funny though. Talking about aliens. So I went to Yucca Valley. Yucca Valley is in Joshua Tree, and actually Joshua Tree is in Yucca Valley. So it's kind of like, it depends where you stay at. So so the person that I had gone with, he rented a Airbnb. We were supposed to stay out there 2 nights and 3 days. So we were leaving on a Friday and coming back on a Sunday. I don't know if you know about Joshua Tree, what exactly it's very known for.
I mean, other than their fucked up trees, no, I don't. I'm not sure. Drug addicts.
But you made me laugh at that part. Yeah, the trees are kind of fucking weird. But actually, it's called Joshua Tree because, okay, we're going to go a little bit of religion, even though I don't want to get onto that. But according to the Mormons, the Joshua Tree looks like Joshua praising God. That's it. It looks all fucked up with the arms like all sideways. But
that makes sense. Yeah, okay. While he was trying to hide some little kids, somewhere underneath there.
Yeah, so
they're very known for that. Anyway, go on.
So Joshua Tree is very known for people to do psychedelics out there too, because they're trying to find their spiritual way. So, okay. So the person, I'm gonna keep the person anonymous because I don't like to, talk about my personal life. So the person I went with, okay, let me just tell you the story because you'll probably laugh at it. He had sent me a message on Instagram saying, hey, and look what they're saying about Joshua Tree. They're saying that there's a serial killer out there and that they were killing people and that people's body were ending up on people's like front yard. Like, it's some just weird ass shit, all right? So I kind of one of my homegirls that used to live out there. And I was like, hey, like, is it true? And she's like, you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. She goes, a lot of people that are out there, they're really they go out there to do psychedelics. It does get really hot out there. She's like, make sure you take a lot of water. Make sure you guys don't go, hiking in the middle of like the fucking day. Et cetera. Blah, blah. Okay. So when we went out there, oh my God, Fabian, I swear to you, I was fucking praying my ass off. Okay. We left LA close to 4:00. We didn't get to our Airbnb until 9:30 at night.
Yeesh.
Let me tell you this. Fucking Yucca Valley or slash Joshua Tree, it is fucking pitch black. And where we were staying at, it was in the middle of a fucking dirt road. There was nothing around us. It was just a fucking mountain. So I was over here fucking running all these scenarios in my head. It was 9:15 p.m. You couldn't see shit. The road wasn't even like a pavement. It was just pure fucking dirt. So you had to like drive slow on these fucking dirt roads because all this fucking dirt would come up and people would start talking shit for those people that have houses there. All right. So the first night we got there, we were in a jacuzzi. It was pretty chill. It was pretty nice. Okay. But let me just tell you this. There's no light out there. There's no light pollution like in LA because LA is fucking a trash ass city with fucking shitload of light pollution. We can't see shit. We're lucky that we can see the fucking moon. You can see the whole Milky Way out there. You can see I don't know. Have you been out to Joshua Tree? Like, have you driven by it or have you like gone and like?
I've passed by at some points. I mean, I think. If I don't know if I was going to Arizona or what, but I passed by there. Yeah, hence the fucked up trees I could see.
Okay, so you talk about the aliens. So that was the first night. The second night, that was the second day. It was 118 degrees out there. It was fucking ridiculous hot. I was fucking whining and bitching and complaining because it was just too fucking hot. And the person I was like, shut the fuck up. You're being annoying with the fucking heat. He's like, just fucking drink some water and sit your ass down. And I was like, okay. I'll try to do that, So we were driving, like it wasn't midday. We were driving out in Yucca Valley. We were just trying to see what we can see, what we can find out there. Like, just to like chill for a bit. And let me just tell you, dude, there's a lot of cars out there that are just abandoned in the middle of like, these fucking dirt roads. There's nothing out there, okay? The houses are so distant apart. They're probably like 5 blocks away from each other. That's how scary it is. There's houses out there that are just abandoned, like with nothing. It's like broken in or just like burnt down, So me and the person that, we were talking about, and he starts telling me, like, you know what? He's like, Joshua Tree is known, like Yucca Valley is known for like aliens to appear and stuff like that. And I was like, shut the fuck up. Like, don't fucking tell me this shit. Like, I'm already trying to fucking deal with this serial killer out here fucking killing people. And now you're telling me about aliens. Like, this is not the time to be talking about shit like this. So then he starts talking to me about like how, just like weird shit. And I was just like, all right, whatever, dude. I'm just gonna totally zone you out at this point because I don't want to hear any of this shit because I'm just trying to relax, So later that night, we were chilling. I was on a hammock and he was like in a jacuzzi. Some other people had shown up that night too. So because I was like, you know what? He's like, I'm gonna invite some people over because it's just two of us and it's kind of a little lonely out here. I was like, you know what, dude? I'm so totally for it because we were out there with fucking like 3 machetes and a fucking gun. I'm being serious.
I don't know what you were planning, but go ahead.
No, it's just okay. I'm gonna send you the DM. I'm gonna send you the picture that he has sent me, so you understand why. Okay. So, anyways, so we were talking about we were just like chilling there, and then he started telling me like, oh, look at the light right there. You did see some lights out there. I won't lie. You'll see some little weird fucking shit at night. And I was just like, oh my God, like, am I fucking tripping now? Like, I wasn't even drinking, okay? I was sober that night for certain issues. I was just like, what the fuck, dude? Like, that's crazy. You'll see, shooting stars, you see meteors coming to the planet, all that stuff. So then out of a sudden, there was a huge ass cloud, and I was like, why the fuck is there a cloud in the middle of like the night? And then that's what he was telling me. He goes, that's how aliens disguise themselves, like behind clouds and shit. I'm like, motherfucker, this is not the time for you to be telling me these fucking stories because there's a cloud under our fucking heads, Um, and there's another story too. He was actually telling me about some friend of his, I think, that I guess he got abducted. I don't know, dude. I try to keep away from the stories because I'm like, you know what? I don't need to hear none of that shit because I just don't want to know.
So did it turn out to be aliens or was it illegal aliens?
You know what? I mean, you know what? It's so funny talking about that because Border Patrol was out there too. So that was kind of weird,
Yeah, I believe it. Dude, I mean,
I'm telling you, dude, if you go out there, it's fucking weird, man. The whole vibe out there, it's cool, but it's just fucking weird.
Probably at night, all you can hear is "Orale, Yashua."
I wish. You know what? No, we would hear coyotes in the middle of the night. We would hear. It was a little windy at night, and then you would hear like, "Ooh." And I was just like, "What the fuck is that?" And he's like, "It's a tree. Don't worry, it's just a tree whistling." How do you know the tree is whistling? How the fuck do you know that's even a tree? Because it was pitch black. You couldn't see shit out there. But going back to about the lady, I've heard so many theories. That's another reason why I kind of keep away from social media because I feel like a lot of people are starting, and like I said, are starting to talk out of their ass, but some of these people need to understand that not everyone's ready to listen to certain stuff because not everyone's prepared to listen to all these certain things, I've heard, I don't know if she talked about the term starseed. I don't know if she spoke about that.
I didn't hear that.
It's a little bit similar to what she was talking about. So starseeds are supposed to be said that they're people that are not like their soul doesn't belong to the human race. I mean, we're all humans, right? So they say we are soul in a human experience. So, we incarnate, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So starseeds are people from different planets, but they're here as a form of a human to help humanity. I did listen to some of her stuff, but then I was just like, oh my God, this lady is like driving me nuts.
You know what? I need to ship you off to Florida and get you with this lady.
No, thank you. I'm fine. I'm here. You know what? Have you heard that Joe Rogan segment with Tom DeLonge from Blink-182?
No, I haven't. I don't listen to his show.
Okay. I don't either. All right. Okay. I'll be honest. I don't either. I was just snooping through, I forgot why I was snooping through it. And I was going through his list. I mean, he has so many fucking podcasts. I was just like, oh my God, this is a never ending thing.
Thousands.
Yes. So I was scrolling through it, and then I found the interview that he had with Tom DeLonge. So I texted my brother, and I was like, hey, you should listen to this shit. This shit's fucking crazy. He sounds fucking crazy. Mm-hmm. Well, he was talking about aliens too, dude. He was telling me that. No, well, he wasn't telling me, but he was telling, the social media that he has his own academy of science and science and stars or some shit like that, where he talks about aliens and physics and how you could time travel and a bunch of shit like this. And I was just like, wow, people are really into this nowadays, But
yeah,
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Well, because it's something you really want to believe. It's so sensational. You want to
X-Files.
believe it. You know what I'm saying? It's something new and different that nobody that has really experienced it. So if enough people say it's true, it sort of becomes this mythical type of thing that we long to experience, and it's I get it, but it's sometimes it's also creating false hope, because I don't doubt that somewhere out there, way out in some other existence, there's got to be, some sort of living creature. Is it sophisticated to the point where it can come visit us? I don't think so. Is it, does it look anything like us? Probably not.
Let me tell you this, all right? So I was listening to some girl's Instagram live the other day. I think it was her live. I don't remember if it was her live or it was a post that she was talking about. She started talking about like how, if you notice nowadays, a lot of this whole like Asian aliens, um like mermaids and like a bunch of shit. It's just like it's a common topic nowadays. Like it keeps coming up and up and up. Then she started talking about how I don't know I don't know if you've been watching the news, how a lot of these sea creatures are coming out from the ocean, and it's like it's causing this whole like what's going on, type of thing.
That
And
was the
there's like,
movie. That was a Disney movie, Luca. I liked it.
you know what? That's a really good movie. My kid loves that movie, and there's a song in there that I really, really love so much. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that shit's party too. Anyways, excuse me. So she was talking about how a lot of these like sea creatures are starting to be exposed, and like we're supposedly related to them, and like a bunch of like all this stuff is going on. So then she started talking about this one documentary, and I saw bits and pieces of this documentary, and dude, I was fucking tripping out. So apparently, there's this like some guy that went and discovered, like he went all the way to the depth of the bottom of the sea. And you know how we've never really done that, but apparently he did. He says that there's space underneath the sea.
I mean, if he's, I don't know how he would verify that, but from what I understand, the pressure's so fucking heavy. Like, how would you even make it and then come back?
But I think he probably did was send a robot. I think that's what it was. I think they were just being specific about it because they did have a lot of footage about like what's underneath the ocean. And I'm telling you, dude, when I was watching this, and I was fucking freaking out. I was like, what are we fucking studying on, But then I was like, okay, I'm just overthinking shit at this point. But that's what I'm saying. Like a lot of shit that's coming up, like I believe there's stuff underneath the earth, the plant, the ocean surface that we probably don't know what's there, And I think some of these creatures are suffering up. Like I've been hearing a lot that people are seeing mermaids and sea creatures, and I'm like, I believe that. Like I believe there are things in the ocean because we only know 5% of the ocean, and that's it. And I do believe that some of these creatures are coming out and they're gonna start exposing themselves. Whether it's true or not, but I'm like, I just think like, well, I hope they don't fucking eat me because, like, I don't know, they're like human, But yeah, like I said, this whole term about like how people are starting to see like, just talk shit out of their ass, I think sometimes.
I don't know. It'd be cool. It would be cool, obviously, because there's no other creatures that resemble us. I mean, closest creature is a monkey, right? But I mean, I don't think it would be that that deep in the ocean that it would be anything that looks like us, because you have to be adaptable to your surroundings. And so I think if it were at the bottom of the ocean, it would look more like like a clear type of animal, like I don't know. I don't even know. Maybe it's like a big ass whale type of animal. I have no idea, but I don't think it would be a person because
they're saying
like,
that mermaids don't look like how Disney made it seem like it. Mermaids look really ugly. Like they have a human.
Yeah. I mean, if you're in the ocean
shape.
all day. But I'm saying, like, even then, I don't think there would be any human shape to it because, like I said, we're adaptable to our environment. It's obviously like we're just speculating here, so it's up for debate. Maybe you're right. Maybe Luca is down there, fucking, playing with his uncle in the bottom of the ocean, or maybe where we could be wrong. And I don't know, but I mean, all that shit, man, I welcome it. I want to see what's new, what's different. I don't fear it because I'm like, the more we understand, the cooler shit gets, I think.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, how cool would it be if there were like a fucking bird that looked like us, Like that doesn't exist either, but that would be really cool to see like a bird that has like human qualities and features, right? Be kind of freaky, but
Well, I mean, there's a lot of folktales that says that there's like a bird that looks like a human. too, you know, like.
Well, I mean, I play a lot of fucking Zelda, and there's a lot of creatures that look like human shapes too, but you know.
But you know what? I think sometimes us as humans, we tend to like discover things that shouldn't be really discovered yet. Like, I don't know. I just feel like sometimes, I mean, it's the white people, dude. No offense. No, I'm not even gonna say that. It's not the white people. I take that back. It's just fucking people that keep doing shit that you're not supposed to be looking at, you know? Like, you know, this whole fucking alien thing, like, people go really crazy about it. Like, they start really, like, fucking, like, saying, oh, like, have you heard the flat earth theory? I don't know, man. That shit fucking bugs me so much.
That's another episode right there, because that'll get me talking for hours.
There's some girl that I follow on Instagram. She's really, like, she is like 100% like, y'all fucking crazy because the earth is flat. And I was like, all right, homegirl, you keep your shit to yourself. Like, nobody gives a shit whether the earth is flat or not. Worry about what's going on right now, because that's what you should be worried about, not about the earth being flat. You know? I don't know, Vivian. I don't know. What are your thoughts about that?
I think this is good content for your podcast that will be out soon.
No. I'm asking, like, what are your thoughts about this theory?
That we're meddling too much and shit.
No, that we're fucking on the flat planet.
Oh, well, it's fucking stupid to think that it's flat. I mean, it was proven wrong time after time again, you know?
How has it been proven? I haven't been keeping updated with like a bunch of shit like this.
Third grade experiments will prove very easily. It just doesn't make any sense, you know? People thought back in Columbus's days, we'd fucking fall off the edge of the ocean if you sail too far, you know, one way. It's just, it's stupid. Like, it doesn't make any sense at all.
Some people, I tell you, I don't know, man. Like I said, I don't know. People are just so. I think this pandemic.
I would love to have a flat earther on the podcast. I think I'm going to find one and get them on here and explain things. No judgments. I won't even open my mouth. I'll just get them to explain and say their part, because I'm interested.
Yeah.
You know?
Like, I was making a bracelet and it just like popped open. Yeah, I get it. But like I said, I don't know. This whole flat earth theory, like, I don't know. I just think some people just have, I think people have too much time in their hand. This whole pandemic has made people go really crazy about stuff, you know?
Mm-hmm. I wish we could go back to just watching Tiger King.
Dude, for us. Like, I just want to watch a new episode of Catfish. That's all I want to watch.
Yeah, like, for sure.
You know, but it is what it is, man. It is what it is.
All right, well, we covered a good amount there. I think, you know, we've definitely got more meat on the bone if you want to start that podcast of your own. You know, I'm putting fuel on the fire right there. But if not, you know, we'll always have you back on again at some point. Is there anything you want to catch anybody up with before we close out?
Let's see. First of all, please don't fucking follow me on my personal page.
All right.
Because I get friend requests sometimes and I'm like, I don't know you. I am so sorry. My page is private for a reason.
That's probably my fault. I'll tag the business one.
Yeah. So I just say that because I found out that someone has been stalking me, and then they've been like, I'm pretty sure the other reason why the whole like that episode that we had probably reached up to that point, because they probably listen to it every day, if anything. But yeah, I just want to say, like, you guys are more than welcome to add me on my business page, but don't add me on my personal page, because I do have I take my life really personal, and I don't like people to know what I'm doing. even though I'm stuck on their food at 2 a.m. in the morning.
And the last episode we did, she's not just gonna lay you just because she was on the podcast.
No. Sorry. Like Vivian said, aren't you in love and shit?
There you go.
I love that, dude. I love that. But definitely, you know, people out there, just like, if you hear crazy ass theory, like, you know, like, I would love to hear them. I just want to hear them. Like, I really want to hear all these like theories about like aliens, you know, like,
and mermaids.
and mermaids. And what are your thoughts about Luca? That was a really good movie, though. No lie.
I liked it.
It was really good.
I think their storytelling has been getting better.
It's because you're Italian, aren't you? Aren't you like somewhere Italian down your line?
No, I eat a lot of fucking pizza, but no.
Okay. Yeah, I tried. But yeah, definitely, I think people just need to like focus on themselves. Like I always said, focus on yourself. Just don't. I mean, this pandemic has everyone fucking on their toes again. So definitely, be safe and make sure you stay distance from people. 6 feet. Is it 6 feet or 3 feet now? Because I've seen places where it says 3 feet.
I don't know. I'm just gonna throw my hands in the air, but I don't know. I'm just gonna stay away from everybody. I think that'll be the best bet.
I do the same shit. Yeah. Are you vaccinated?
I'm vaccinated.
Okay. Yeah. Don't ask me. Okay.
Are you anti-vaccine?
I'm not. I just
laziness.
No. I just choose not to. Not because of religion, not because I'm an anti-vax. I'm not an anti-vax. I mean,
you're a rebel without a cause.
No, actually, it's just I don't know. Like, I don't really find I'm gonna have to get vaccinated anyways because I work with kids, and then I have my daughter, and my parents aren't vaccinated either because they haven't had the chance to go to the doctor to see if they but yeah, I'm not an anti-vax.
Well, whatever you do, I tell people, look, I don't give a damn if you're vaccinated or not. You do whatever you want to do, right? But
thanks, Vivian.
But I don't wish the COVID on you in that moment of weakness, because that shit is horrible.
I know. I got COVID last year, 2020. So I know. I'm sick, but I have a sinus infection, not COVID. So
just don't
I feel better. Oh, I know. I'm not trying not to. It was terrible, and I can tell you that right now. It was bad. But all right, Vivian, sounds good. Everyone else, I hope you guys like this podcast. Hope you guys don't get bored with our conversations. It's nice, talking shit about certain things. But I think we had a good conversation today.
I think we always go off on interesting tangents there. If it's not scary stories, it's fucking mermaids and pizza and
aliens.
There you go. All right, then. Well, I appreciate it. And everybody listening at home, appreciate it. Thank you. Fuck you and good night. Subscribe to the Ignorance is Strength podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. Like, follow, and share on Facebook and Instagram at Ignorance is Strength Podcast, and on Twitter at The Ignorance Pod.